Thank you for purchasing a Bluebonnet HoneyBee. When you get your HoneyBee unpacked, you will have a base assembly, a base and the treadle pedals. Upright assembly, that is your upright, the wheel, scotch tension, and the axle. A jumbo bobbin, 2 standard bobbins, your flyer axle, a jumbo flyer, 2 footmen, and in the plastic bag you will find 2 shaft collars, a little white spacer, a ring pin, 2 screws, 2 buttons, 2 lazy Kate pins, an Allen wrench for adjustments, a sliding hook, a drive band, and the whirl with the set screw in it. When you get it unpacked, check the whirl for the set screw. If it's not in it, it will be in the bottom of the plastic bag. These assembly instructions apply to all 3 of our bee designs. To begin, take your upright and wheel assembly and insert the tenon into the base with the wheel facing the back. Then take one of the 2 screws and with the screwdriver put the screw in. Tighten it all the way down and then put the other screw, there's 2 screws, put the other screw in. Nice and tight. Be careful working close to the edge of the wheel. If you hit the edge of the wheel, it can chip, so be careful there. Then take the 2 buttons, put them in the hole, and you can tap them in place. You can actually use the end of the flyer to tap on this part of the flyer with the opposite part of the flyer against the button to tap that hole. Don't use a hammer close to the edge of the wheel. If you break, it'll break the edge of the wheel off. To attach the footman to the axle, remove this brass screw. Take one of the footmen, fit it over the end of the axle, rotate it around past that corner and then around that corner. Then bring it up here so you've got some room to work. Take the right hand treadle pedal and put the loop through the hole in the bottom of the footman. Pull it all the way through, open it up and bring it around. And then pull it tight. Then with the left hand treadle pedal and footman, you can attach it before you put it on the axle. Bring it through like that. And the same procedure, make the loop, bring it around the bottom, tighten it up, and then you can put it on the axle. And then replace the brass nut. And if you need to, if it tends to come off, just use a wrench or a pair of pliers to tighten it on a little tighter, and then it'll stay on. And then treadle it to make sure that they don't bind against each other. To prepare your lazy Kate, take one of the aluminum pegs, put it in the hole on the back side of the base, take the other one and put it in the other hole. Put your bobbins onto the page just like that, and your lazy cake's assembled and ready to use. Go. To fold your folding bee, first step is to release the bottom of the footman and release your straw hasp right here. Take your ring pin from its storage place on this hook and feed the ring just like that. Put that all the way up like that. And then drop the ring pin into that hole right there. To prepare it for use, take that ring pin loose, drop the base down, put your ring pin back on its storage place right there, rehook this straw hasp, and then rehook your footman. And final step, put your brass nut back on. To assemble the flyer, take your flyer and your flyer axle, screw the flyer axle into the flyer, and tighten it up like that as much as you can just by hand. Put your bobbin on with the end that does not have the groove. Put the bobbin onto the flyer axle. Then take the little white spacer and put it onto the flyer axle and slide it up to the bobbin. Then take a shaft collar, slide it onto the shaft, and just tighten it down. Insert the flyer into the bearing, both sides, just like that. Then put this shaft collar on, but don't tighten it yet. Put the whirl on just to the end, but not up against that shaft collar. Just like that. You want some space between the whirl and the shaft collar. Okay, now then, with this, use the short leg of the Allen wrench to make sure that this set screw is tight. That will ensure that the whirl does not spin on the axle when you're tightening it up, because this set screw has to be very tight so that you can tighten the flyer very tight onto the axle. That will prevent the flyer from coming off while you're spinning. When you get to this point, see if your bobbin spins. If it does not spin, and I'm going to deliberately set that situation up. Okay, if it does not spin, see how that's binding? It doesn't spin free. It's because this shaft collar is too tight against this spacer, so it's all in a bind. Loosen that, and it doesn't need more than the thickness of a piece of paper clearance. But it has to have clearance because it has to spin just that free. Then slide it to where the shaft collar is against this bearing, and then slide the back shaft collar up against the bearing and tighten it down. The set screw here and here, you don't have to get them super tight, just enough that they'll stay where you put them. This set screw has to be very tight so that you can tighten the flyer on very tight. The final part of assembling the flyer is to put the sliding hook on, squeeze the small loop and the big loop together. That makes this hole bigger. It'll fit easily over there, go on, and then To adjust it, squeeze them together and slide it wherever you need it. As you fill your bobbin, you can move it very quickly and easily exactly where you want it. When you have your flyer assembly completely assembled, you can store the Allen wrench in this hole right there. And it'll stay there. To put on the drive band, hook the drive band over the whorl, either the large or the small part of the whorl. I recommend using the large one when you're beginning. It's a little easier to control take-up and speed. And then just bring it around the wheel. Then when you get ready to change from one whorl to the other, just drop it over like that. It's easily changed from one to the other. Then, when you get ready to move your wheel, just take the handle and pick it up. You see the drive band will pop up here on top of the upright. Set it wherever you're going to put it, and if you're not going to use it, let the drive band drop down onto the axle just like that. If you're going to continue using it, just put it back on. Anytime you're not going to be using your spinning wheel, please release the tension on the drive band. To start the Scotch tension for the first time, unhook it from its shipping position and unravel about a foot or so, 18 inches of band. Bring it over the top, through the groove in the bobbin, and then tighten it up. And you see here the band is starting to stretch out. You want it to just be about right there to start off. Just starting some tension on it. And then as you start spinning, you can adjust it more. Very small adjustments have a very large impact. So very small adjustments are sufficient.